swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. I swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. Yeah.
All right, Nick. When you are driving, do you need the wave/acknowledgement when you're letting someone into your own lane?
Oh, that's a good one. I generally prefer it. I wouldn't say... You know, it depends on the moment. I think if I'm clearly doing you a big favor when there's a bunch of people come by, I prefer the wave.
Are you annoyed? Maybe that's a better way of asking this question.
I don't think I ever get fully annoyed. Because I know there are times where I'm all over the place and I don't wave to somebody. I try to always make a point of doing it.
Sure, yeah, I do too.
But stuff happens, you know?
Yeah, I get very upset. Yeah, as someone who spends a lot of time in their car, I also feel like I have to take it upon myself to police the road.
Oh.
When the authorities are not around to do so.
As you say, as opposed to the actual police.
Right, yeah. So it's a vigilante justice, as I like to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I will do the sarcastic wave. Oh, sure. Please, go right ahead. Of course.
Wow.
Yeah, and like really let them know my displeasure.
You are way worse than I would never do that.
Yeah, because in theory, if you're merging into a lane, it should be 1-to-1 ratio from the left and the right lane coming together to make the middle lane.
Right.
Left goes, right goes, or whatever. Right goes, left goes, but one after the other.
Yeah.
And when someone tries to skirt out, and it happens a lot to live down on the Cape, there's bridges and the rotary and the merging that goes on there. And we have people trying to come up on the left, trying to sneak onto the right exit, and then, do it the last second cutoff there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I will get as close to the car in front of me. I may even tap the car in front of me just to ensure there's no space.
Really?
Not tap, but just give it a little kiss. There's nothing there's nothing going on there.
Yeah, if kissing's happening, there's nothing going on there. You're absolutely right.
Right, we're just getting to first base.
Yeah, that doesn't really even count anymore, I think, at this stage.
No, but speaking of first base, we're back at our home base.
Oh, yes, we are.
Episode 17, Change My Mind podcast, back at the 1420 WBSM AM. That's kind of a little dyslexic, right?
Yeah, no, you got it right.
WBSM 1420 AM in New Bedford.
Yep.
Back in the studios, we got Tim Weisberg behind there, the man in the chair.
He survived the paranormal cruise.
Yes, he did. He looks a little slimmer, actually. Maybe he got exercised a few demons. Maybe one too many punch runs.
He also got to meet his hero, which we can touch on that at some point later on, I'm sure.
Yes, and for those of you who may not know, that, of course, is Nick Fryer, Wesley Sykes here. And today we will be discussing Detective Pikachu.
Kind of.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Kind of not. Yeah, we'll tell you about what Wes means by that a little bit later on.
Can't wait to hear about it.
We also got the Game of Thrones show finale to talk about.
Yeah, series and season.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys this. We probably have more to talk about with that than Detective Pikachu today.
I'll tell you, I got some real notes on Detective Pikachu I like to really dig into. I think you'll be interested in this. Yeah.
I am very interested in.
I might surprise you, actually.
You might. I would be.
Who knows?
Very happy to be surprised.
Yes, yeah. But before we get to that, we got some great stuff to get to today.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we discussed early on in our podcast archives. You can go back there. Yeah, whether it's Change My Mind Pod on anywhere you can download your podcast, whether that's Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, or on Geeks Worldwide, any of their archives as well. Episode 5, Who Should Play the Next Batman? We kind of prophesized this a little bit.
Oh, you wrote down the episode.
I sure did. Well, that's called show prep, because when I don't go actually see what we're supposed to go see, I try to make up for it in some way, shape, or form.
Wow, you already made good on that tease.
Yeah.
You know what, Wes, I'm sorry, did you already say what happened? Because you just gave the whole presentation.
I kind of teed it up for you.
Okay, yeah, so Robert Pattinson is expected to play Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Yes, and that was one of the people that we talked about.
Yeah, was he on your short list? I know he wasn't on mine.
No, he was not on my short list.
Yeah, so...
I had too many Star Wars rejects on my short list.
It was chock full of it. When he came up with the whole Army Hammer thing,
mm-hmm.
I was really out on it, because the only all I know Robert Pattinson from is the Twilight stuff, and I think I saw one of the movies, and I just remember him being like,
Well, he was also in Harry Potter.
"Oh, that's right, Cedric Diggory, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was fine in that role.
He was good, real hunk.
Yeah, but I would never look at that guy and say that's the guy who's gonna play Batman next.
Right.
And no setting. But I was talking to someone the other day at a Red Sox game, and I can't remember for the life of me the name of the movie, but he said there is a movie that Pattinson was in, and based on the way he played that role, you can see him playing Bruce Wayne.
I've seen that going. I forget the title too, but I've seen that going around on Twitter.
You have?
That people
Okay.
were saying the same thing. I know the movie. I haven't seen it, but if I heard it, it would jog my memory. So that seems to be, kind of check it out. And I would say that a lot of people had the similar thought about Heath Ledger playing the Joker. When you're
It's a
like,
fair
whoa,
point.
this guy, who's this guy? 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
I think
The
of
Patriot.
like The Lords of Dogtown or Dogtown and Z-Boys or whatever that movie was called.
Wasn't he in The Knight's? No, is it
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale?
Yeah, right.
The medieval movie with Queen in it, right?
Was Queen in that?
Yeah, Knight's Tale, Tim, right? That had like rock music in it.
Oh, maybe.
You never saw that?
No.
Oh, okay. It wasn't. Yeah, I think that's. And then you had.
I know the
Paul
movie. I just didn't
Bettany.
know.
Paul Bettany played Chaucer.
Oh,
in the movie,
wow.
too.
Okay. So love seeing Vision getting some work.
Yep.
That's good for him.
But
Good for
either
him.
way, to your point with the whole thing, I think that is good for Pattinson because now we go in with some people are going to go in with expectations, haven't seen that movie, and we may see it before the Batman comes out. But by and large, I'm still going to be skeptical going into it. So with Ledger, we were skeptical, and then he just blew our doors off because of it.
And I would even say, like, I was skeptical with Ben Affleck, and
Yep.
he didn't blow my doors off by any means, but
No.
I thought he did a really good job.
I thought he did a good job too. I thought he was good. I didn't like the way they handled his role as Batman. They made him way too soft, in my opinion. But he had the look down better than anybody.
Right.
And he plays a good Bruce Wayne. So I mean, you're batting what? That's 2 for 3, I guess. 2 for 4.
Yeah, it'll be. And I always said I'm much more interested in how someone plays Bruce Wayne than Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how I like my bread buttered. But I think it's interesting that he was pretty much the main name that was floated out there from the beginning, right? I think it started out as him. It kind of went to Armie Hammer real quick.
Yep.
But then he always kind of stuck around, and that name I feel like always kept popping up. So it seemed like that was Matt Reeves' top guy.
I guess so. And
So if he's getting the guy that you want, your number 1 draft pick, bring back a little sports reference for you.
yeah.
I guess you gotta trust the guy until Matt Reeves proves me wrong.
And you noted in your notes here that Paul Rudd is another example too.
Yeah, well, I'd like to meet my my Paul Rudd quota.
Yeah.
Early on, I just want to hit that right out of the bat. I think
Yeah.
we got it in the first 5-10 minutes here. Yeah, 7:41.
Look at you. Yeah.
But I did love that, but tell me I'm wrong. Right?
No.
I mean, did you expect anything? Like, I know I didn't.
Even better than I don't know if I would say Paul Rudd's Ant-Man was better than. I guess Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, and granted, I didn't know Scott Lang, the character. He was more entertaining. I appreciated his character more than I would say I appreciated Ben Affleck's Batman.
I thought you were going to say Heath Ledger, and I was going to say that is a very hot take that you're right there.
No, but
I might have to take off my pullover because that was.
Speaking of the Joker,
sweltering.
though, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, not a guy who you expect to play a character from a comic book ever.
Right.
But we're all pretty excited about that one. I think he's going to do well with it.
But then you get the reverse one because I thought Tom Hardy attaching his name to Venom meant that was going to be guaranteed gold, kind of like a dark Logan-y
Oh, you did?
style. Yeah. When I first heard that, and then once I saw the trailer and everything, because you get Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams together. Those are 2 really good actors.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
So I figured they wouldn't, unless the script
That's
was,
what I was thinking.
you know what I mean? Like I assumed they wouldn't have signed off on the script if it was that bad.
I think Tom Hardy just knows. I think any good actor knows that if you're in a superhero movie, you're going to make some money off it.
Yeah.
You're going to do well. You're going to get paid. You're going to get some recognition. You'll become relevant again. You'll probably get another job, maybe 2 out of it from elsewhere. I knew Venom wasn't going to be written very well because you don't have the key element, and that's Spider-Man involved in it. Because there were rumors, he might be in it. It's like, no, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, but it's easy to go back and say, I knew this wasn't going to be good.
I'm telling you,
I had hopes.
Well, I didn't. I thought it was going to be fine, and it was
to keep up with your pristine record on takes.
I don't have. Yeah, I wish I had.
I'm keeping track at home. You're batting a solid 475 right now.
Oh, geez. Oh, so in this world, is that okay?
I think that's good.
Okay.
I think the baseball world translates back and forth.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, good to know.
Think of how many times you got to throw out takes when you're on the air.
This is a very good point. Well, when it came to it, look, we know if it's MCU at this stage, it's going to at least be probably a B movie. I think at worst. I mean, over the past 5 years?
Yeah.
Pretty much since Thor: The Dark World, have we had a bad MCU movie? I don't think we have.
Yeah, but this isn't going to be a bad. This is a DC movie.
No, I'm talking about Venom. That's why.
Well, yeah, let's not talk about Venom.
Well, I'm saying you were saying why did I think it was going to be bad? It's just because it's a Marvel movie outside the MCU, and a lot of those are really hit or miss. And I think when you're missing a key component to the origin of the Venom character, I think you're going to run into problems. And they did. It was better than I expected it was going to be. I'll grant them that.
But enough about Venom.
Yes.
Any last takes on Batman, Robert Pattinson?
After hearing that he's had a role that can translate to this, I'm okay with the casting. But he's really got to work on the physique because he's a scrawny little softy. I'm sorry.
They could make it happen. I didn't think Chris Pratt. I mean, he had the mass.
Yes.
You know, he was unmolded clay at that point, but I didn't think he could.
Human manifestation of a melted ice cream cone?
Yes, exactly.
I really butchered that.
I was going to say, you sounded like my 5-year-old Wes with a speech impediment there.
What do you talk? I can't.
No, whoa, quayons.
Yeah.
Think of that phrase.
I was going to say, what are you
anytime.
talking about? And then I realized the L's silent there. So
that was more of like a Boston accent thing there.
Yeah.
Falcon Winter Soldier news, Nick.
Oh yes, this is right.
I mean, do we call him Falcon? Like, do they change the show?
It's still,
I got questions about this.
So from the Deadline Hollywood tweet, it's still referred to as the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Carrie Scogland has been set to direct the 6-part Disney Plus miniseries. Thomas Polito from Geeks Worldwide, one of the news writers over there, I believe the lead news writer, tweeted this out too. Sam will use Cap's shield. Zemo is back.
I liked Zemo a lot.
Agent 13 is back. August.
Who is, for the people who did not know, because I asked the same question.
Sharon Carter.
Thank you.
And August 2020 premiere.
Okay.
So a nice little buffer from Avengers Endgame. Obviously, you're going to have Spider-Man in between. I think in the fact that it's only going to be 6 episodes, I'm hoping that means they're going to be an hour long.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, I would say keep it at 45 minutes.
45 minutes. You're so stingy on your time with these things.
Yeah, I know it. I want to be able to binge right through them.
But,
give me that content.
So you can do what? So you can go watch so you can go watch what I'm watching.
So we can
go
get together and talk about it. It's all just coming back to you, Nick. That's it.
That's what it is.
I'm just living life to get back to you on Mondays. That's what it comes down to.
Sad to say, I'm doing the same thing with you. But I think the fact that he's got the shield, but he's not going to take the Cap mantle. I think by the end of the season, he will become Captain America. We'll see a change in outfit and everything.
That was my kind of thought on it, is that you see him maybe, scrap and handle what it means to actually become Captain America. Mm-hmm. And you kind of see maybe his trials and tribulations going through that, but by the end of it, you get the full-on Captain America with the Falcon wings and the shield there too.
Now, is there anything when you look at this series, because we get the bare bones on it, and I guess Carrie's a established director. I don't know much about her. What is it that you need to see in this series, or are there multiple things that you need to see in this series?
I'm immediately interested by Zemo. I thought we got a little bit by him early on. In Civil War, I thought he was actually a really great villain, but didn't really tap into the comic book character of Baron Zemo.
Mm-hmm. He's got a lot more going on.
You just got regular Zemo there, but you could see how maniacal he was and how disciplined he was in carrying out his plan. Mm-hmm. How intellectual he was. And I think that was all just kind of scratching the surface, because he never really had to really lay a finger on anybody outside of that Russian spy that he used to get the book originally, like when he crashed into the house and
Right. And then-
waterboards him, I think. But anyway, you don't really see him like injuring anybody.
Right. Obviously, he took out the other like sleeping Winter Soldiers too, but we don't see that. either in the course of things. I think that's a good one. I honestly expected you to take a different route. I figured you were going to say you want to see a hell of a lot more out of Sebastian Stan.
No, I'm actually kind of out on like I don't know what his whole purpose is now.
Well, now it's
he's just like a warmonger.
Now I think his purpose. See, like right now, what they're doing with him in the comics is he's helping people who were in a bad situation in life, made a lot of bad decisions, might have gotten involved with Hydra, something to that effect, and he's kind of helping them get back on track, start a new life, new identity, all that stuff. I'd like to see him start to, find some self-worth for the love of God. Because you're a freaking badass. You can go and help a lot of people out, and you're just going to sulk and whine about the fact that, I did so much miserable stuff in life. Dude, you can go and kill a bunch of bad guys and make up for that really easily.
Yeah, but I guess it's not so much with Sebastian Stan. I think it's more of, the writers in all these movies just kind of tossing him to the sides. He became marginalized so quickly, and then I think they've done so much making him one-dimensional. They kind of take away all those different layers that they started to build up in Winter Soldier and then Civil War again.
Yep.
And they right after that, as soon as he goes to Wakanda, he just looks downtrodden, beaten up, and just like, oh, here we go to another war again. So I guess when you put it that way, I'd be kind of interested to see how they kind of dig him out of that hole.
Yeah.
But that's not really hot. It doesn't really move the needle for me.
Well, in Infinity War, the whole thing is like that. I know Infinity War did a better job of incorporating all the Avengers and the, I guess, second tier Avengers. Like if you want to put Spider-Man and Black Panther and all of them in there as second tier Avengers or second edition, we'll go with that.
Sure,
I guess.
Yeah.
But this last movie, obviously with him being dusted, you're just, in general, you're not going to get him as much on screen. And honestly, in Endgame, Wes, when you look at the grand scheme of things, Winter Soldier was good in Civil War. He was at his best in Winter Soldier.
Yep.
But in Endgame, do you really want too much of him? I don't.
Well, no, because he doesn't. Like, it's the same thing with Black Widow and Hawkeye, right?
Right.
Suddenly their powers are neutralized once you get out into space. And
right.
There's no gravity. Right.
He can hang a lot
that,
better than they can.
Yeah.
He has a lot. I feel like he has a lot more power than people give him credit for. I mean, I know you not like to knock Cap. Wes did it a lot in our last episode.
Well, I think I was right too. You go back to the Twitter poll. Iron Man won far and away.
That was a different poll than what.
But it was essentially the same question.
I'm pretty sure I saw someone respond to the Geeks Worldwide Twitter account where we labeled the episode Cap as the main protagonist of the MCU, and someone said, "Finally, someone agrees with me."
Yes, that one person with 2 followers.
How many people agreed with Wes on that tweet? I don't think I saw any.
No, but I won 57% of the vote.
Yeah, but see that one person there with how many votes we're getting, it could sway things.
Okay, well you can. I'll give you that one person.
Either way,
you guys can snuggle together tonight.
Either way, my point is
Captain Pajamas.
You actually give Cap more credit for his strength. You talk about him versus Iron Man, and you think that he may have an actual edge, right? That last time you had said that.
Yeah.
With Bucky, when he's like not sulking and being a softie, he's right there with Cap. So it's not like he's some little weakling who can't go and fight.
I get it. I'm just not as interested in Winter. Like, they decommissioned him so much in the last few movies, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. So the movies were fine without him.
I think this is an episode I want to do at some point. We got John Wick next week, which you will watch John Wick.
Yeah, I'll go see that.
Okay, good. You promise?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd be stunned if you didn't. Like this, I get a little bit, but John Wick, I'd be blown away.
Yeah, it was a beautiful weekend out. I was picking up weeds all weekend.
This is true.
Working with my hands.
I think at some point, what is your favorite? I know we're getting really off the rails, but this is important. What is your? Because everything we do on here is important, of course. Right. What is your favorite type of superhero in terms of like their abilities? Is it tech? Because Paul Rudd. I mean, Scott Lang, he is a tech character, I would say.
Yeah, I would say tech.
Science. Okay. I think at some point we should talk about that because I think like the strong characters are better. Like the skilled characters are better. Like the Batmans, the Captain Americas, Winter Soldiers, Red Hoods.
I would say Batman is tech.
Maybe that's an episode in itself, too. Yeah. Batman's a tech. You know what? No, he's probably more tech.
And we could have a question of whether Spider-Man is a tech. this MCU version, I would say, is.
I guess this MCU version probably is. In the comics, I would say he's the closest thing to a mutant without being a mutant.
Yeah, that's science.
That was one thing we did want to talk about. Which version is better?
Hulk.
So the couple episode potential ideas there that we're going to get to at some point when we have a lull in movies. But anyways. So, yeah, that's my big thing that I want out of the Winter Soldier in Falcon show, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, excuse me. What else do we have for news? I think you had one more thing. Oh,
yeah, Stranger Things Season 3 sneak preview came out today. So we've already had the official trailer come out. I believe that was a few months back in March. But this one is just a little teaser, maybe about a minute and a half or so. So you don't have to put a whole lot of time into it like you would maybe these Disney Plus streaming shows that are going to come out.
Yeah, I haven't watched the second of Stranger Things.
But this will be, this just shows our boy Billy Hargrove, who's played by, God, I don't even know how you pronounce this last name. Dacre, D-A-C-R-E, Dacre Montgomery. That one I know. But anyway, Billy Hargrove is just killing the game as a lifeguard. Like everyone like is just seeing him shirtless. He kind of looks like Zac Efron. With a mullet. Have you seen Stranger Things?
No, never watched an episode.
Really?
Never.
You'll watch freaking Castlevania, but you won't watch Stranger Things? That was a huge...
Sometimes I do. Well,
Tim, are you you got to be a Stranger Things guy, right? Yep. Yeah, he's nodding, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I just, you know what? I think when it came out, everyone was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And I was like, you know what? I'm all set. I'm, out of spite, whatever.
You're missing out, man.
I'm sure
the
I'll
first season was great.
Second one was good.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
and this is probably the last one.
I'm sure that I'll like it, and I'm sure I'll like it. I generally am more positive about things than you are when it comes to this crap. I would say I'll probably end up liking it more. Am I wrong?
Just because I'm a realist.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair. I'm not saying you're a pessimist. You're probably more realistic when it comes to stuff than I am.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. Wow, man. You're coming out spitting flames today. You and Drogon on the same level right now. I feel like the Iron Throne, but we'll get to that in a few moments.
Okay.
This is just going to be an 8-episode season coming out on July 4th, following them through the summer. It's going to be 1985 in Hawkins, Indiana, and summer's heating up. School's out. There's a brand new mall in town, and the Hawkins crew are on the cusp of adulthood. Romance blossoms and complicates the group's dynamics. After all, they are hitting puberty.
Ooh.
And they'll have to figure out how to grow up without growing apart. Meanwhile, danger looms when the town's threatened by enemies old and new. Some demagogues? I don't know. Eleven and her friends are reminded that evil never ends. It only evolves. Now they have to band together to survive and remember that friendship is always stronger than fear. So keep that in mind, Nick, next time you want to get mad at me.
I have one question out of that. I'm not trying to nitpick. Is it demigods?
No. I think it's demigorgs.
Gorgs.
I think I mispronounced that.
Okay,
yeah.
you said.
But I was trying to roll with it.
No. You're fine. No, you did a great job, Wes. I'm just asking because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about with any of this stuff. All I know is there's 11.
Right.
And then there's that kid with the curly hair who I've seen all the commercials
on the Verizon commercials. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. He seems funny.
And then there is, I believe his name's Steven in the show, who looks like a knockoff Jean-Ralphio.
Oh, the guy who says I love KFC or something like that, or that's
it could be.
Or is that?
I don't get that reference.
No, it's something from KFC radio. It's like always on his. It's pinned to his profile. Anyways, not important.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay. So I mean, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be watching. I mean, July 4th is kind of a tough spot for it, but I'll watch it. I'll be able to watch it at my leisure.
Who thinks that's a good idea?
I don't know. I guess if it's geared towards kids, they're not going to be going out late anyway.
Is Stranger Things geared towards kids, though?
Well, it's like based on kids.
Yeah.
So I think it's kid-friendly. It's not like they're cursing and there's a whole lot of, like, sex and drugs in there.
I know it's not. I get that, but my thing is, so it can be for kids, too.
Did you like the Goonies as a kid?
Yeah.
That's essentially what this is.
Really?
Yeah, it pretty much is.
A little darker or no?
No, I mean, it's darker. You're dealing with, like, forces from dimensional beings and stuff like that, and like weird science stuff, other than just like a disfigured
whatever
man.
What was his name?
Sloth.
Sloth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
hey, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's kids running into doing crazy hijinks and like getting themselves out of trouble, and all the parents seem to find their face from their ass.
Okay.
Yeah.
No comic book minute this week because I have comic book related stuff that we'll talk about
Okay.
a little bit later on in the show.
Is it the Batman who laughs?
It is not the Batman who laughs.
How about the Joker who cries? Now that's a title.
That is a title. It's definitely a title. That's for sure.
Yes.
I mean, like the Silencer comes out this week in Batman Beyond, but I didn't look at anything else outside of that. I want to get to Wes's Road to Westeros because obviously this was not just the season finale. This is the show's finale.
Yeah, this is it.
So what do you got for us today?
Yeah, season 8, episode 6, The Iron Throne. I would say that we're going through Westeros right now, but it's really just King's Landing. That's kind of much where the whole show resides, And, before, we'll get to some major takeaways and everything, but I think I want to ask you, and we can kind of bounce this off one another here, your thoughts on the episode, your thoughts on the season, your thoughts on the series.
Okay. So I would say just...
it's succinct. Yeah. Surmise.
Okay. I would say the episode was fine. I would say fine, and that's reluctantly. There are elements I like. There are elements I don't like. And we'll get into that more in a second. The season was a little. I would say a little bit better than fine. So fine, I would guess would say is average. So we'll call it above average. That doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean, and obviously nothing better than that.
Yeah.
And then the series, the show as a whole, I'd still recommend it to people.
Oh,
it was phenomenal. It was. I mean, there were so many great elements to it, and you just go through a gamut of emotions. And so I would still say it was phenomenal. I still give it I would say a 9, whereas it was a 9.5 coming into this. What about you?
Would you rewatch this series?
I might.
See, I don't think I can find myself rewatching it.
It's just so long. I mean,
exactly.
It's one thing when it's 3-4 seasons an hour long. I mean, this is, 7 seasons?
And it's so dense. It's not like casual. It's not like watching The Office for, the same amount of show hours. That's easy watching. This is like, you have to take notes sort of thing and really know what's going on. But yes, to kind of answer my own question, I liked the episode. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. I liked it. Okay. There were some things that we'll touch on that I still kind of can't really get by. Mm-hmm. The season I thought was good. Not great. Not bad. Good. You got some really great tentpole moments. Some things that we've been waiting to see for 8-10 years for those of us who just watch the show. Longer if you read the books, Mm-hmm. But again, not everything felt earned, and we'll go into that a little bit later as well.
Yeah.
But the series is still an A+ to me.
An A+.
Yeah, I mean, take away creating a series finale for a TV show is incredibly tough. You look at a show like Sopranos, which I think is universally loved by everyone who's seen it. I haven't seen it, but
I haven't either.
Everyone who I've talked to about it who has seen it never is like, oh, that's a bad show, or I don't like it. They rave about it. They go, they really stand for it. That had arguably one of the worst series finales ever. Same could be said for Lost. Mm-hmm. Right? So you get all these great shows that get people invested. And I think part of, the good and the negative feedback that you get that, this show kind of draws up shows how effective the series was to conjure up that type of emotion.
I think something that I don't even begin to know what these writers do when it comes to how they plan things, how far ahead they look in the future. But one thing that I found interesting is I probably heard this or saw this a little while ago. Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, who's going to be celebrating Spawn 300 soon, and then Spawn 301, which will make it the longest-running independent comic in North American history. He said at one point that he knows how Spawn ends, like the way things finish up for that character.
Right.
So hearing that, I mean, I don't know when it's going to end. I don't know if he knows when it's going to end, but hearing that, I know, okay, he's got a plan. He's had a plan for a long time. So in knowing that, he's probably had a chance to make adjustments. It probably looks a little bit different than how he initially set out to think about it or planned it. So I think by the time that rolls around, the Spawn finale is going to be awesome. I think these guys definitely didn't do that, and I wish they had.
What I imagine is, and we were kind of talking about this before we went on the air here. Season 7 and 8 were made predominantly without the books, right? And maybe a little bit of season 6, and now everything's
Definitely
kind of
blending,
blending together. But definitely 7 and 8, and those were separated from the first 6 seasons in the sense where, okay, we knew we were getting 2 last seasons ahead of season 7, right? They came out and said we're going to do 2 more seasons. They're going to be this long, and that's going to be the end of it. So I think they saw the end. They knew the ending that they wanted to get to and worked their way backwards, as opposed to the first 6 seasons where they're just expanding and going out. And then they realized, which is the same issue I think George R.R. Martin is facing with his books, being pushed back as long as they have, is that it began to be too expansive to pull back in. Mm-hmm. And instead, they had to cut down all this time. And because they gave themselves such a short leash, I guess, or short dock to close everything on, landing strip or whatever, reference you want to use, they had to cut out, okay, well, we can't do this. And then you kind of have to get like an abridged version where that these things are foreshadowed. For instance, Dany turning into the Mad Queen in episode 5, right?
Right.
But it doesn't feel earned.
Got an episode and a half of that.
Yeah, exactly. But it was all alluded to in other seasons. But in that moment when it came time for those things to actually come to fruition, it was all just rushed, right?
Yeah, honestly,
and that's the frustration with it. I think
that's my biggest knock. Her going and becoming evil, because she was evil by the end of it. The way Jon acted, Tyrion, slowly slipping into madness. He'd already kind of lost it a little bit in season 7.
Yeah.
Like all of that happened way, way too quickly. I mean, Cersei doesn't suffer at the end. Look, the way she died, I don't hate it, but you could have done more with it. The whole thing with the Night King, it was all just, that's it. Mm-hmm. I understand he was not the focal point, but you guys built him up so much.
Right.
You built him up. The fans built him up too. I get you can't worry about the fans to some extent, but there was a lot of potential with that character. You could have had 3 episodes on that. Have a couple. You had the one where you intro things, and you have 2 more in between fighting Cersei, and then you have 3 more off of that at the end.
Right.
What's that put us at? That's 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It's 8 episodes. There's no reason that couldn't happen. Or is that 9? Either way, my point is that the decisions they made for the direction of the characters was not wrong. I don't have any issue with that. My main and almost sole knock on the entire season was basically, like you said, we got a Spark Notes version of what happened.
Yeah, give me more. I want more. That's it. I want more of it.
And what's been so remarkable about this show is, whereas like with The Walking Dead, you have a lot of fat on that show. There's a lot where it's like, all right, guys, let's get to it. Come on, like you're wasting too much time. And I still like that show, but I know what it is. This has never really had, as you always say, an ounce of fat on it.
Yeah.
It's been exactly what we needed, the right amount, detail, but keeping things rolling for the most part.
This was like bare bones.
This was just rolling. Yeah. That's it. Like we're going, guys. Camera's rolling. We got to keep moving. Like no stopping. No time to explain why that happened. And one point you brought up that was interesting is we talked about Varys and his death last time.
Right.
The way he died. The reason he went out too, I think that was great.
Yeah.
But, Varys is, in a lot of ways, Varys is one of the most important characters in the entire show.
The master of whisperers.
I mean, this whole thing is just a basic gossip, I hate you, I hate your dad, like, I'm going to kill you because of that. And that's all it is, and he's the one.
It's information, and he gets it, he has it all.
I mean, and he dies almost instantly after the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah, and the character like that is essentially put on the bench and left on the bench during the Great War or the Long Night or whatever, the Battle of Winterfell, because he really has no role. Like what's he gonna do? With the White Walkers, but he gets really ushered back into this major role so quickly right after that episode 3, and then by episode 5 he's dead. You know what I mean? So again, it's just a short. So that's the tough thing here. But some major takeaways. We'll run down some bullet points, and we'll get your thoughts on it. I think right off the top, Bran the Breaker. I was right.
Broken.
I was right.
No, it's the Broken.
Oh, Bran the Broken.
Yes.
Yes, because yes. He's not the breaker of the wheel.
Yeah.
No, because it's essentially like the same wheel, just different spokes.
Yeah. Yes.
Different spokes for different folks, right?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
That's a shirt right there. Oh my God, right?
That's actually a really good one. I'm gonna write that down.
And then you get the different spokes, like different strokes, like 70s kind of print on there.
I'm writing it down, so you gotta be the one.
Yeah, we'll get that. Put that file away in the noggin.
I'm so mad that you were right about this. And Bovada, screw you.
Oh
Bovada.
yeah, I was just going off of Bovada there. Vegas is always right.
How did they know?
They know people. They have to know.
It's not sports, Wes. They don't. The books aren't out.
No, but but the series is already out there. It's just not available for public consumption.
But
All it takes is a call to one exec.
I mean, they basically spoiled the show.
Yeah.
They put the odds-on favorite. The odds-on favorite was the guy who ended up winning.
Nobody believed it though. It's like the same thing I say about the spoilers on Reddit. Like it's you believe what you want to believe.
I think there were some. Knowing that going into the season definitely affected part of my viewership. However,
did you hate that? Did you hate the choice?
Oh, of course I hated the choice.
Yeah.
That would probably be my other knock on the whole thing is you're going to put Bran, the last person that anyone wants to see on that throne. And that's not just because of this season. Look, Bran had a purpose.
He was gone for an entire season. Like they had to write him off the show for a whole year just to have him catch up to where they wanted him to be.
Yeah. Why do we? Who wants to see that little bastard on the throne at the end of it all? Oh, I'm sorry you fell out of the window or whatever, the tower. That sucks. It's you got the whole Raven thing going. I guess that's kind of cool. Do you really use it?
It's cool though, but like, what was the whole point of him working the whole time during the whole battle?
What has he done? Seriously, what has Bran done outside of telling us that the White Walkers are coming and then going and becoming the king?
Well,
what did he do?
Really interesting. I saw this point be made on the Talk to Thrones episode on The Ringer, which they do immediately after every episode.
Okay.
And great. I think I've mentioned it before. One of the best Game of Thrones podcasts that you could listen to. But it's really interesting how Bran and Daenerys, two point of view characters from the books, like they actually have chapters told through their point of view, and often at certain points throughout the earlier portions of the season, especially Dany more so than Bran, they are suddenly not seen through the audience's eyes. We're watching them on the screen. You know what I mean? Like everything that you see from Daenerys in the last two episodes is from someone else's point of view. You rarely get to hear her side of it, right? When she's burning down the entire city, it's from the civilian's point of view.
Yep.
When everyone's talking about her, when they're showing her speech, like her Mussolini type speech or that she has, it was very like World War II.
She did a really good job with that.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's told through the perspective of everybody watching her, right? So everyone's like you're kind of absorbing it. And it's the same thing with Bran, that you don't really get that sort of character development in the last two seasons that you needed from who are essentially the two most important characters in the story in that course in time.
We never were made to feel like we knew Bran was important, but the whole time it's always been, for a long time, it's been Jon and Dany. Those are the people who've been the main focus, and Tyrion was probably the third character after that. And then at the end of it, Bran's the one that's sitting on the throne.
And somehow they let Tyrion just talk his way into the political parlay and then have all this say with the shackles on.
I had no problem with that.
It's just kind of like an odd thing.
It's funny, but they all looked at it and said, "No, like what he did was fine. Like he got fooled, like all of us did by Dany. She went and lost it. He knows what he's doing for the most part. We all make mistakes. It's fine. We've all done dumb stuff along the way to get here. But." You know what I find funny and all? It's like Bran's like, oh, I don't want it, but I have to have it. But it's like, how can you serve in that role when your whole thing is you can't tell people the future and dictate what people are going to do because then it affects the future? I feel like this role is the exact thing that the one thing in life you cannot become is the freaking king.
Well, no, I think what he does and what you kind of see throughout the show is that, when he keeps saying, well, everything happens for a reason, and I knew I was going to be showing up here because I knew I was going to be named king. Like, why do you think I showed up here? He says something to that effect. He's pushing all these different pieces into play so things fall into place. So whether or not, he's telling you, hey, you're going to become so-and-so of this great land, you have to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
No, he's just going to give you the little nudge.
I don't like that.
Much like he almost gave Ned a nudge when they did that flashback to the Tower of Joy. Mm-hmm. And he kind of hears him in the winds of whisper, and then he kind of realizes he can affect the past.
Yep, that's right. That's a good point.
It's kind of just gives him like a little bit of a nudge.
Oh, man, I'm just so bummed about it.
I kind of liked it, but again, it just doesn't feel earned. Like I'm down with Bran doing that. I've always really loved the Bran storyline, even when things got weird.
Really?
Yeah, because I always thought that he played such a huge role. If they were going to build him up to be this person who can see everything, because he was really billed as the guy to stop the Night King.
You're absolutely right. They built him up a ton, and that's just another thing where they
I
really
just kept
didn't deliver.
holding out hope that they were going to finish it, and although it never did, I was always hooked. I always was hopeful that they would give me that little bit, because you still don't even get that conversation with Tyrion in episode 2, I think it was, when no one was talking to Bran, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And they're like, "Well, you don't want to hear my story," and they're like, "We're all about to die in the middle of winter. We have time."
I think he told them everything that we already kind of knew.
But what do we know? Like, what does Bran do? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we get that answer, but do we though? Like, I just wanted more of it.
Okay,
really spell it out for me.
Okay, I think that they've said that this is everything that we already know is what you really need to know. Because he's not like he's going to go into this excruciating detail. He's never
but he ends up being the king like that. In hindsight, we should know more about the character.
We definitely should. Like, what the hell was he doing when the Night King came along and he was warging up? Because we never got that. Another thing that there's no payoff on. What else you got?
Yeah, I got, where did Drogon go to? / Drogon being the smartest creature in this entire series.
Yeah, right?
With his, metaphorical melting of the Iron Throne, this is what killed Daenerys, my mother.
It is what killed her. He's right, but yeah. Well,
but no one else had that foresight. Not even Daenerys. Everyone, he's like, you know what? All this stuff. I lost 2 brothers. We lost all these people. I had to kill all these people, all for this stupid throne.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny.
I don't know if he had that much. No, I guess when you go and do something like that, yeah, it's implied that you have that much of an understanding of what's going on. I think
because if it was an animal, reaction. Mm-hmm. He would just kill the thing that was standing over his mother, which was Jon.
Yeah, I think that everybody else looked at it and said that we believe in what she's doing. She's liberated some of us already for the Unsullied, they've seen her do it with other people and do good, which is what we all saw. Like, Dany was awesome. She was such a up until the end. I know that there were moments where she went, Tyrion put it best. There were moments where she did things that were questionable, but every time at the end of it, who was getting beaten up or killed? Bad men. So it was fine. The bad people are getting killed. It's not a big deal. No one's going to complain about that other than the bad people. So we had no issue. But by the end of it, she went too far. And
it's the idea of war is what we define as bad people in war is often perspective.
Yeah, I know that's one of Tim's biggest gripes with Walking Dead is that group is not always the good people.
Well, the Vietnamese thought the Americans were the bad guys, in the Vietnam War. You know what I mean? It all just depends on.
When we're talking about the slavers, those are obviously bad guys.
Well, sure.
They painted it every single time these people are bad that Daenerys was killing. I felt like it was pretty obvious for us in those circumstances, don't you?
Yeah, but then you also have the Tarleys who got burned there.
That was
they gave him the opportunity to do it. There's these other examples of that I'm missing as well.
I wonder if that was the beginning of the end for her. Some would argue it was much sooner, but I think that was. I know you got a couple of the bullet points you want to get to. But my big thing with this season that I think a lot of people didn't like with Dany, yes, it was rushed. And it's very important. But I think the other thing that was great that they did, and it's kind of had me in a bit of a funk, is basically they took a character who we all loved. I mean, seriously, it didn't matter what walk of life you came from. If you were watching Thrones, Khaleesi was your queen. She was your Khaleesi. You were ready to follow her.
And she was the hook to the show early on, too. Like, everybody, like, even the people who weren't in, and then even now when I talk to people about it, it's kind of annoying, but all I know about it is incest and dragons, right? And that's essentially all Daenerys is.
Yep. And, I mean, Emilia Clarke now, like, when I saw her in Solo, I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Emilia Clarke's there. I was going to see it anyways because it's a Star Wars movie. But if she's in it, and I thought she was pretty entertaining in that movie, and anything else that she's going to be in going forward, I'm willing to give it a shot because Emilia Clarke is that strong of an actress based on what I saw in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I think
she's humble too.
I think she'll do a really good job. I think Sophie Turner's done a really good job of kind of transitioning out of Game of Thrones. But I wonder, especially for someone like Kit Harington, that the impact of this show and those roles that they played on it ruins them for the rest of their life. That you only see Kit Harington as Jon Snow or Daenerys or Emilia Clarke as Daenerys.
The thing that's good for her, that's going to help her a ton, is she has the white hair in the show, or bleach blonde, whatever you want to call it. You're not going to see her in that many roles, not for another maybe 50 years. Like
right.
she's going to have the brunette or what I think she was a brunette in Thrones, and I think that's what in Star Wars, I think that's what she actually is.
Yeah.
So I'm
absolutely.
cool with that. And the other thing too was that is, she was at the Astros game. The Rockets game recently. I think they were playing the Warriors, and the mascot went down and bent the knee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the way she handled that, she's like, this person is just great. Like, she appreciates the moment. She's humbled by it. I guess she was really worried that Beyonce wasn't gonna like her anymore because she turned into a dictator at the end of the show.
Right.
It's like I like Emilia Clarke a lot. I'm very much in on her. Towards the top of my power rankings for current actresses.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right,
at this
pretty
point.
high.
And Sophie Turner's doing a good job. I'm curious to see what she does as Jean Grey, though. I don't.
Yeah, but she's been killing it just in life. Like, she is winning everything in social media.
That's true.
Just killing every event that she's at. Her and Joe Jonas are really, she seems to be really weird. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, and she actually chugged wine at a hot game, Red Wings game, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it was a Knicks game. It was something.
No,
it was some sporting event.
I think it was Red Wings and Rangers, possibly.
That could be it. Yeah, there we go.
Definitely Red Wings for sure. Okay, either way.
Real quick on speaking of Sophie Turner and Sansa Stark, she secedes. She kind of gets her way.
Yeah.
And throws Bran completely under the bus, saying that his package doesn't work, and completely owns her uncle Ed Mirtelli, just telling him to sit down, which was that was a real tour de force by Sophie Turner there. Mm-hmm. But also, they make this weird social commentary on the Electoral College.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That was the real big loser of the day, was the Electoral College.
Yes.
No, Wick, this doesn't really make sense to do this.
Yeah.
We should have the people to decide. And then everyone's like, no, that's just crazy.
That is their social commentary, saying that people in power don't want to give it up.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Yes.
No matter what's happened to get to that point. And that's why at the end of the whole show, it's like, this is so friggin' frustrating, because as much as you have Bran there now and it's different way. It's the same
exact way. It almost opens the same way, I feel like. They...
Yeah.
Like I was brought back to the first few seasons where they're sitting in that room and they're, Tyrion and Cersei are arguing about how they want to set up the chairs for Tywin Lannister before one of their first meetings, and I thought that was kind of a nice poetic move.
The only difference is now you have a king who is a cripple and can't have kids, so now you're going to have to choose the king every time. Outside of that, though, you still have the people in power, and
it's the same people in power.
Yeah, it's still the same houses.
Yeah,
there's almost no difference.
But the Starks won.
The Starks were the big winners at the end of this. Of course, with Bran.
Jon Snow gets to go off free, do his thing. Sansa becomes the queen that she always wanted to be. And then they have Bran still winning, ruling over everything. And everyone else just accepts it, which is, whatever. But I think that just about wraps it up for me, other than the Jon Ghost reunion. I'm a big believer that they went back and filmed that retroactively after all the backlash. Mm-hmm. Because it was just him. It wasn't like it was a big set piece. So it's easy enough to stick him in front of a green screen, pull up the CGI of Ghost, get him in there, give him a little boop, send him on his way.
I have a couple. One other thing, I'm just getting caught up in the YouTube channel. I was off the screen and just realized that we have a couple people chatting in. Amber Rose.
Oh, nice.
I feel Varys'
The
death.
Amber Rose?
The Amber Rose. I don't know what that means.
Like Amber Rose is a person. Like she used to date Kanye West.
Okay.
And like birthed one of
his children.
Wiz Khalifa's kids. Yeah.
Okay.
She was a model.
Among the other things, one of the many things that she's contributed to the chat, I feel Varys' death was fitting. Again, I think that his death was the way he died.
Was awesome.
And
it was a great death.
And his crime too was very Varys. I mean, that was fitting. It's just I feel like the fact that all right, we're done with the Night King. We have one more battle, but there's still that controversy of Jon and him being Aegon and being the rightful heir. You could have done a lot more with that. I feel like if you did a whole episode where it's Varys doing all his little crap, I would have been in on that.
Yeah.
Him trying to you were seeing everything through Varys' perspective, and he's going and dealing with Tyrion, he's dealing with Daenerys, then Jon, and then he's got his little the birds or whatever.
Yeah, his little birds. Yeah.
I would have liked that. And then
okay.
Dean Pont, along the same lines, the whole Jon being a Targaryen and being the heir to the throne meant nothing at all.
Right.
Nothing whatsoever.
And again, what used to be so great about this show is the twists, right, and the unexpected turns. And that was a twist because everyone was expecting, well, how can Jon not be? He's the main protagonist, so you can tell he's worthy now. But again, unlike Ned Stark dying or the Red Wedding, there's no, like, you didn't have time to be emotionally invested in all this. It just felt like a turn for the sake of taking the turn.
So, two things, and one of them's off Ned Stark and Robb Stark. But first, Jon killing Dany. I saw another picture of what was the wildling girl that Jon was in love with? Ingrid. Okay, like I saw side by side. So he's dealt with death, with a loved one twice like that. And man, when he killed her, it was pretty heavy. I mean, like she had, that was like her one moment where she was kind of not crazy, but kind of was still. And she still loves him through all that's gone on, and the fact that they're aunt and nephew, whatever. But man, that one hit me pretty good because it's like he still loves her, but it's like I got to do what I got to do. And that brings me to my other point where Jon Snow was a character who I always wanted him to be my favorite guy because he's the bastard. He's got a really kick-ass last name.
Sure, Snow.
He's got a good look, everything. But he just never was that. He just never could become my favorite male character in the course of the show. Dany was always number one on the female side. But honestly, I feel like I appreciated Varys more, Jaime Lannister more. I mean, not Jaime Lannister, although maybe.
I like Jaime Lannister. I thought he was a great character.
I meant more than Jon Snow. I don't know if I appreciated him more than Jon Snow.
I think towards the end I did.
Tywin Lannister for sure. I mean, Jesus, Tyrion Lannister. I'll get him right eventually. But Littlefinger was great when he was on.
I loved me some Littlefinger. I was a big Littlefinger man.
And my two favorite characters, the first reason I came into the show was Ned Stark because Sean Bean, he was awesome. And then Robb Stark, as soon as his dad died, moved right to the top of my power rankings. And after he died, I was like, I guess Jon's my favorite male character on this show? Nope, never really. Because the thing is that
he's too small. You just pick him up and put him right in your pocket.
My biggest issue, I guess that doesn't help, but the biggest issue I had is I felt like he was always trying to live up to his, quote, dad, obviously not his real dad, and be Ned Stark and be the honorable guy, whereas every step of the way, he's questioning himself left and right, whereas Ned maybe didn't like what he had to do, but every time, it's like...
He always knew what needed to be done.
Exactly. It's like, all right, splash a little water on my face, gotta go do it. Gotta get ready. Like, I had a moment, it sucks, this is it though. This is who I am, I'm gonna do what's right, always. Jon didn't want to do that. He didn't want, he didn't
know what to do.
He didn't know what to do. He did not want to be a hero. He did not want to be the person that made the decisions. He just wanted to, what was supposed to be done. And he wasn't always ready to do it. He did the right thing in the end, killing Dany. But man, it was not fluid at all.
It wasn't. Now, any last licks you got on Game of Thrones before we move on?
Well, I mean, do you think we're going to get spinoffs?
I think so.
With Arya and Jon?
I think they left it open for that. I would like to see one more with Arya than I would with Jon.
Yeah, I don't need a Jon spinoff. I don't.
Yeah.
Now, Tormund's cool and everything, but just give me Arya. I'll be fine with that. I think everybody who's upset about what happened, I think they'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. And then maybe they do like some sort of like, I think it's Duncan and the Egg is like the spin-off version books that they have. And it's kind of like The Hobbit, kind of going through the world and kind of seeing their own little...
The prologue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was the rumor coming into the season.
But maybe they do that with Arya and kind of like adapt it to her on her adventures of discovering the new world.
I'd be fine with that.
Like, that would be something kind of cool.
I'd be very much fine with that.
Yeah. But I'm going to probably go back and read the books now.
Really?
I've been saying that for a while. I think I really should.
I think it would be fun. I don't read books without pictures in them.
I'm all in. I know. That's my big concern. That's my big concern with
You don't read books with pictures in them, let's be honest.
No, I don't read books that often. I write books, you know? Damn it.
Oh, right.
No,
Although, you know what?
I don't.
In the On My Mind section of this episode, I have a book that I think that even you will enjoy reading.
Okay.
With pictures, of course. But anyways, the main topic of this show today, in addition to Game of Thrones, was supposed to be Detective Pikachu.
Well, it is.
So
it is Detective Pikachu.
Wes, normally you ask me this question first, but I'm going to ask you today. Detective Pikachu, did you like it?
You know, that's such a complicated question to ask. It's very nuanced. It's a nuanced question.
In fairness, it is. That's true. Do you want to give my answer to help you kind of?
Could you? I need a minute. Yeah, just to collect all my thoughts going around.
So I would say that I liked this movie. I would not say that I wouldn't say that I loved it. I would say it's in, I was saying with Thrones the last season, it was above average. Then I'd say there's good, great, awesome. I'd probably say Detective Pikachu is good for kids. I think it's a great movie. Great kids movie.
Okay.
For everybody who grew up liking Pokemon, I think that I liked Pokemon. I wasn't a crazy diehard, though, when it came to it.
Sure, okay.
So I'm sure the diehards appreciated it even more.
Now, did you enjoy it? Because those are two different things, I feel like.
Did
you like it? Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for sure.
Because I think you can enjoy a bad movie.
Oh.
But I don't think you can like a bad, or maybe you can like a bad movie. But I think they're just two different things.
Yeah, well, when it comes to my grading, I can give my grading early, right?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
So when it comes to my grading, I think that's where I'm most subjective when it comes to it all. So I give it a 77 out of 100. I think based on what we've seen from the MCU, like they've kind of set the bar where I know with these kind of cartoony childhood movie things that we grew up liking or shows that we grew up liking or books, I know what a B is. You know what I mean? Like Wonder Woman, I think I have set currently as like an 86. So to say Detective Pikachu would be at an 80, I think is too high. I think a 77 is perfect. If I'm talking strictly kids movies, this is probably this is as good as it gets with kids movies, especially by now.
Like the Jack Nicholson version of As Good as It Gets, but for kids. Is that what you're saying?
I honestly,
Diane Keaton.
Have you seen that, Tim? As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson?
It's probably my favorite romantic movie of all time.
I've never seen it.
Oh wow, really?
Absolutely.
I didn't.
I'm definitely that character.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Do you bring plastic silverware to?
No, I don't have the OCD.
Okay.
But I'm just as much of an a-hole as he is.
Well,
that is true.
I guess it's just as good as it gets.
You make me want to be a better man.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, Tim.
That's a good one.
I've actually not seen that movie. That's why I was hoping Tim could help you out on that reference.
Okay.
Oh, watch it. You'll cry.
I'll cry? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. now I kind of want to watch it. I the whole Daenerys thing, man, it had me down. I think that was part of what affected my emotions today.
Did it?
Too.
Yeah, you carried it into today.
Yeah, I do. And then just the other stuff that happened, it was like that's where I've been a little on edge more so today.
And then I come in and drop the bombshell that I didn't see Detective Pikachu.
Yes, Wes. In case you guys haven't picked it up yet.
Right, I've been dropping little bird hints for you all episode.
Yeah, leaving the crumbs out there for everybody. Wes did not see Detective Pikachu, so I'm kind of trying to give him an understanding of what's going on with the movie.
Well, I do have the synopsis real quick before we get into everything here. It says, in a world where people collect Pokemon to do battle, a boy comes across an intelligent talking Pikachu who seeks to be a detective. Directed by Rob Letterman, starring Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, no relation to Will Smith. I thought that originally.
I think I told you that too.
And Catherine Newton. I just assumed that too. I just assumed that was one of his kids.
Catherine Newton, can you pull up a picture of her? I think she's the female.
Yeah.
She must be
She's the female lead.
like the kid. Yes. So okay. So
it's currently a 7.0 on IMDb. Had a $50 million opening weekend and has pulled in $290 million worldwide.
you know what I appreciate right there, Wes, is the fact you brought up the IMDb score.
Oh yeah, no, I'm done doing Rotten Tomatoes.
We'll still dump on them.
Yeah,
We're not citing them.
well, because it seems very
counterintuitive.
counterproductive, counterintuitive. Yeah, all the anything counter.
Exactly. Counterattack.
Right. It just doesn't seem, if we're going to be
Counter-strike.
talking about how bad they are, yeah, countertops.
Counter-punch. Ooh.
Yeah, right. We got that right here.
Yeah.
It's all of the above.
Okay.
So only IMDb from here on out.
So they gave it a 7. I give you guys a 77, which essentially is a 7.7 out of 10. I'm generally a little bit more positive. So I think we're in a fair ballpark. We're on the same page pretty much when it comes to this movie. I would say it's not a movie I would watch. You got questions though for me.
Well, yeah. So I think off the top, so I think we established this last week, and you had just reiterated that you weren't a huge Pokemon fan. You were into it.
I would say I was a Pokemon fan. I was not a diehard.
You had the cards, you had the games.
I had the cards and I had the games. I played Pokemon Stadium.
Watched the TV show.
Definitely, yeah. So
yeah, and
I think diehards took it a little bit farther, like a little bit longer.
Sure.
I think when it stopped becoming the thing, I think I faded out. Like I where you were supposed to kind of stop.
Okay.
Is where I stopped.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get that. And that it just missed me. I had friends in my age group who were all about it, but it just never really hit me like that. And I tried to, but I don't know. I was never a big Zelda fan too, which was like very similar on the Game Boy.
Yeah, I never got into Zelda either. I mean, fun character on Smash for sure.
Yeah, right.
You know what? I am curious who your character on Smash was.
Samus.
Oh,
big
okay.
Samus character.
Captain Falcon was my guy.
Yeah, because you get the hook, and then you could like really whip them anywhere you wanted to.
Samus is an awesome character, very powerful character.
Zelda was a good one too, or Link. I mean,
Link was a good one. Pikachu is another favorite of a lot of people, which is what
I believe Kirby though was just voted like the real MVP of Super Smash Brothers,
Dude,
like the strongest character.
Kirby's such a cheat code. Anybody that uses Kirby has no freaking skill.
I know
whatsoever.
Yeah. But my question for you was though, for myself who hasn't seen any of this. Would I get it?
Yeah.
Would I be able to follow along? I'd just miss some things.
Yeah, like you might not appreciate like some of the characters that pop up, but you could appreciate the detail that they put into how these characters fit into the real world.
Yeah.
They don't look the CGI. I mean, you got a taste of what the CGI looked like.
It looked cool.
And they showed off a ton of Pokemon, Wes.
Okay.
We saw a lot of Charmanders, Squirtles, Arcanines,
and they're all
Growlithes.
just coexisting.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was great. I had no issues with the animation whatsoever in this movie, and I loved how they're nonstop giving you Pokemon.
And now there's multiple of the same Pokemon.
Yes.
Right. So is that how it was?
Yeah. So yes, sir. Like
because I guess we could both battle Pikachus, right? If
you can have a Pikachu, I can have a Pikachu. No issues whatsoever.
But there's Pokemon? Are they just like people? Or are they attached to people?
So they
know what I mean?
So they have partners.
Okay.
Basically what it is. So you have a Pokemon partner. Everybody has one. The whole thing is Justice Smith doesn't have one. So it's like, well, what are you doing, dude? Like, how do you not have a Pokemon partner?
Because he's a loser.
Because
he looks kind of like a nerd.
He is kind of a nerd.
He's got to play a nerd.
I would say Justice Smith is my definition of a dweeb.
Okay.
A guy who's got nothing going for him, had dreams, something along the way went slightly wrong, and he gave up, and he doesn't really have any direction outside of that. He's not cool. By like
so that's
the
your definition of a dweeb, huh?
Yeah.
I would just say that sounds like a loser to me.
You could say he's a loser too, but I think a loser is actually worse. A loser that didn't have dreams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah.
So I'm very layered, I would say, Wes.
But I would say if you're a loser, then you had to have lost something.
Oh, my God, you just poked a hole in my theory, Tim. I don't know what I'm going to do. Do you have anything to help bail me out of this one?
Right? I mean, is it the hopes and dreams?
Were you sleeping?
No, but I don't think that it really matters like what you want to label him. It all kind of boils down to essentially the same thing. He was someone in search of a friend.
Yeah.
He needed a friend.
Dweebs have friends, though. That's all I'm going to say.
He's someone that needed a friend.
Some dweebs don't.
Well, those dweebs are losers.
Listen, that's the problem with society today is we have to bully everybody and give them labels that are unnecessary.
Here comes the soup can.
Yeah, what is this, NPR radio over here?
I'm just kidding.
You're talking in a very
what a friggin' loser that guy is.
Who is this Tim? He's all refreshed and tanned. And
he's going full NPR on
so
us.
calm. Yeah.
I think that it was I was worried for a second he was being possessed by one of the ghosts from the cruise.
I can't believe Justice Smith as a dweeb, because
he was a dweeb in the Kingdom, the Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, but I couldn't buy him in that either, because I know him from the Get Down on Netflix, which like 5 people watched. But
I was not one of them.
He was pretty. I mean, he was kind of sappy and overly emotional and overly romantic. But
sounds kind of dweeby.
Yeah, but he was. He was
also in Jurassic World.
It was a great. That's what Wes just said.
When the hosts aren't listening.
Yeah.
But that was a great show, and that's also how you get your 1 degree of separation between Will Smith and Justice Smith, because Jaden Smith was also in that show.
Oh wow! And they're not related. They just starred in the same crappy TV show on Netflix.
It was not crappy at all. It was a very well done. It's about
you said yourself 5.
You would love it. As a hip hop guy, you would love the Get Down.
Oh,
it's about the birth of hip hop through the eyes of Baz Luhrmann.
I know what you're talking about. I have not seen that, but I now I might have to go back and watch it.
Yes,
I take back every
to.
bad thing I just said about it.
Yeah, you're such an idiot, Wes. Jeez.
Well, you said hip hop. You lead off with that next time.
Yeah. Way to bury the lead, Tim. Moron. Anyways, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about the differences between losers and dweebs.
I'm kidding.
And that was very deep. We cut very deep on that one.
That's what this show's all about, is depth. We're not with that horizontal movement. We like to throw sliders that are going to drop off the table.
Exactly.
Exactly. You were asking me to tell you about Justice Smith, I think. It was his character.
Yeah. What was he like? Why didn't he have a
he was
a Pokemon?
He'd gotten burned. I mean, I don't want to. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We're a spoiler podcast.
All right, fair enough. So he had some pretty serious daddy issues. His mom died when they were young, and then when his mom died, Dad went and buried himself in his work. He decided that he was going to go and commit time more to being a cop or detective, working in Rhyme City. Justice Smith grew up with his grandmother. Now there are a couple twists in this show. I would say there's.
Now I looked up the big twist.
So there's I would say the first thing's a MacGuffin, and then the twist. So what's the big twist, Wes?
Assuming that I'm correct here, is that Justice Smith's father placed himself in the Pikachu.
Vice versa. The Pikachu had the father placed within him.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Okay. Either way, I'm splitting hairs, but that's what happened. Yes. And then, do you know who his father is?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
This guy who's playing Pikachu.
They did a very good job of not showing, because you assume Justice Smith, okay, he's black. His grandmother is black. We see a picture of his mom.
Sure.
It's black. So we think, okay, Dad's probably is too, right? As much.
Well, it's 2019. There's mixed relations all over the place.
Of course there are, but it just.
I believe you can marry a goat in some states.
Are you serious?
I wouldn't believe it. You go down south.
You know what I just realized? Now that the Road to Westeros is done?
Yes. Yeah, it's the return.
Of Wes's Stay Woke of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you wait to start with the goat marriages.
I think we could get into that. Yeah, we've been in hibernation, about to get woke every week from here on out. All
right. But... yeah, we find out at the end of it that what happened was at the beginning of the movie there's this car crash, and Mewtwo's obviously the villain in the movie. He's actually not the villain. Oh, that's where the MacGuffin is. I think Mewtwo would technically fall under the definition of a MacGuffin.
Or a red herring, perhaps.
Maybe red herring.
I'm not entirely sure of what a MacGuffin is.
Tim, can you give the definition for that, please?
A MacGuffin is something that seems like it's going to be the cusp of the movie, but then it turns out not to be.
So it would not be a MacGuffin. It was more of an okey doke, I would say.
Okay.
Where we're led to believe that one character is the villain.
Then a red herring.
Yes, so it's red herring.
Yes.
So I was wrong. I apologize for my use of the term.
I will take my tip of the cap. You don't even need to see the movie.
Yeah, look at you.
Look at that.
We're led to believe that Mewtwo is in part the villain, but there's also another character involved in the course of that as well who is supposed to be the villain. Mm-hmm. But Mewtwo turns out to be the good guy in the course of everything. He had issues with humans, but Pikachu was actually the one that showed him that there are some good people in this world, i.e., Ryan Reynolds' character. There was a car accident that Mewtwo had created because of I forget what.
Now, does Mewtwo, he or she, do they have telepathic powers?
I believe he has
Is that
telepathic
the-
powers.
yeah?
He has some serious powers. He has some. We'll get into that in a second. But what happened? One thing Mewtwo can do is he can place the soul of a human into a Pokemon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
pretty.
Now, why would you
banana
want to
land.
do that?
I don't know why you'd want. Well, I'll tell you why, because that becomes the main focus of the whole show, the whole movie later on. But in this instance, Ryan Reynolds' character had died in the car crash that Mewtwo created. Pikachu then volunteered its body to save Ryan Reynolds' character,
Okay.
and then Ryan Reynolds was inserted into Pikachu. That's why he has the amnesia and has no idea what the hell's going on. But Ryan Reynolds,
Can we say installed into Pikachu rather than inserted?
Yeah, that makes
makes
it
me-
sound
I feel-
not like PG.
I don't
Yeah,
get what you're. I'm not. Why does it not sound PG?
I feel dirty thinking about Ryan Reynolds being inserted into Pikachu.
And just logistics. How does that work? How big is Pikachu?
This sounds like a new Van Wilder movie idea.
This is like a reverse Richard Gere situation. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Just lube up Ryan Reynolds, stick him in a condom, and up he
Oh,
goes.
jeez. So what did you say? You'd rather? How should I explain it?
Installed.
Installed. Ryan
yes.
Reynolds was installed into Pikachu. Fair point.
Software.
Fair enough. So he was his partner in the course of this thing, and everybody has a Pokemon partner. He has Pikachu. I'm forgetting the female main character. This is usually your area of expertise.
Right,
You have all that for me.
Catherine Newton.
Catherine Newton. She had Psyduck. We see the guy who has Charizard. Obviously, we saw that character in the previews. He has his partner is this like club owner where they have Pokemon fights, even though you're not supposed to have them in the course of things in Rhyme City. And I thought that, seriously, Ryan Reynolds did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I would have.
He gave you some good laughs.
I think
Maybe a little levity.
takes this away from doesn't allow this to become a B movie, B minus, whatever, is it doesn't have enough Ryan Reynolds, I would say, as Pikachu.
Okay.
There's a ton.
Need a
but
little more?
I get too much of Justice Smith with what's her name again?
Catherine Newton.
Catherine
By the
Newton,
way,
thank
don't
you.
blame this on me that you can't remember the main characters' names.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
I think if I remember,
I rely on you. I'm like, I'm lazy. I'm bad like that. I mean, we do the Game of Thrones stuff. You know almost all the characters' names. I'm terrible about it.
Well, I do a lot of nerd stuff.
I have the
A
things
lot
that
of-
I've known for a long time, the things that I read about, like in the books. I know that stuff, but I mean, it's more of a credit to you, Wes, than it is a knock on you.
Well, got an old steel trap for a memory up here, the old noggin.
Yeah, you definitely do. What's up?
I just want to correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the original Detective Pikachu idea, wasn't it hatched as like a joke where Danny DeVito was going to be the voice of Pikachu and
I
it wasn't
think
a real
so.
movie, and then people got excited for it, so then they decided to make it a real movie?
Oh man,
yeah.
Sign me up for that movie.
I know.
Danny DeVito.
I would have actually preferred Danny DeVito to do that.
That has to
Would
be
this be like a
R-rated.
live action Pikachu, where he's
was
just
the-
like in yellow paint?
No,
'Cause I could also
that would
see
also
that.
work. I could see that.
Yeah, I could really see that.
Yeah.
Actually-
Hey, I'm Pikachu.
That might be an episode of the next season of It's Always Sunny. now.
Yeah, I like that.
That could definitely work.
But so Nick, my question is overall. So like I said, I'm someone who hasn't seen this. Why should I go see this movie?
Because it's funny. It's a good time. You're not going to be. There's really not a lot of down moments. I would just say that the knock is that you get a little more Justice Smith than you want, and that's me being nitpicky. I wasn't a huge fan of the female character. Again, her name.
Catherine Newton
Thank you.
is the actress's name.
That's fine. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Right.
She's the reporter chick. Catherine Newton, her character was just, I think she's what she should be, but I just am not a huge fan of it. It's too much of a caricature of the video games.
Is this a breakout role for Justice Smith? Because I did not enjoy his performance. I didn't enjoy anything of Jurassic Park.
I wonder if Tim's show that he brought up before is his breakout role.
It could be.
I mean, he was definitely the star of this thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that was his
But
breakout role.
it's Netflix versus, a huge brand.
I mean, to
You're
be
right.
fair, the it was supposed to be one of those tentpole shows for Netflix.
Okay.
I mean, bringing in Baz Luhrmann is not cheap, and especially producing the show. That's why they canceled it. It wasn't that it wasn't good. It was that they weren't getting the audience to justify the money that they were spending for these huge set pieces and some of the elaborate design that they had for it. So plus the music rights too probably cost them a fortune.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that the boss busted, right? Am I right or am I right,
Yes.
guys? Huh? Am I right?
It's another good sports reference.
That's it.
So when I say if Tim's example is not his breakout role, I would think he'd get another job or two off of this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's done pretty well. It's $290 million worldwide in the box office.
But Wes, I wouldn't. I mean,
I know who he is now. I know he's not related to Will Smith.
Yep. If I'm being honest, though, I enjoyed the movie. You take out Ryan Reynolds, and I probably don't even see this.
Yeah.
Or we're definitely not even remote.
There definitely is a Ryan Reynolds factor.
Oh, dude, 100%. Seriously, you. What was the term we wanted to use again to describe it? He's
installed.
Installed. He's installed, not inserted into Pikachu.
Which in turn installed hope into you about the good movie. Right?
Yeah. But if that's not what I'm getting, then I'm out. I mean, I don't see why I'm gonna find it. It's not gonna be funny. It'll be a good kids movie and adventure and stuff, and yeah, nostalgia factor. But I mean, it's only gonna do so much for me when there's so many other great movies coming out. We got John Wick that we're definitely talking about next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we've had the Avengers movies. We're gonna have Spider-Man later on. Hellboy ended up falling flat, but there are other things.
We have X-Men. We have X-Men coming out.
Yeah, June 6th. So that'll be 2 weeks after John Wick.
There's also, it begins with B. It looks like a horror superhero movie. Brightburn.
Oh, yeah.
Brightburn looks awesome. Yes.
Okay.
I'm all in on that.
Do you want to do Sonic?
Let's see. Let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. Maybe we do.
Right now, I'm out.
Maybe if we can find a matinee where we see it, where it's cheaper, and maybe if we did it the day of the show.
Can we booze up first?
You can. I'll drive.
Well, we call an Uber.
We could do that too. I'm not a big
We
date.
need to start getting screeners for these things.
Yeah, that'd be great if we could do that.
That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
I'm signed up for a couple of different studio sites, but they don't give me screeners usually.
Oh, yeah.
By the time you guys get through all this, it'll be time for Watchmen.
That's a good point too.
Oh,
which
yes.
I watched
HBO, right?
Yeah.
I watched the little preview last night. Looks amazing.
Yeah, that looks great. The televangelist show with Danny McBride and John Goodman and what's his name from Workaholics, Adam Devine.
Oh, yep.
Looks very good as well. I'm even looking forward to Euphoria, checking some of that out. The Zendaya show that's on going to be airing on HBO. A lot of good stuff hitting HBO.
So don't cancel your HBO, everybody.
No.
That probably canceled today.
Game of Thrones is over. They're reloading up with all the other good content.
Yeah, they got some good things going on.
Just remember, every time that a great HBO show ended, another one started. So.
Yes.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah, right,
it's
exactly.
Pretty crazy.
What would you like to wrap up Detective Pikachu with? And I'll give my score at the end of this.
I would say two things. They showed off a decent amount of powers in the movie for the characters. Pikachu had the Volt Tackle, which was with Mewtwo, which was awesome. Blastoise in the battle arena was great. I know none of that means anything to you. It's basically speaking Japanese.
It's really resonating with me, actually.
The other big twist that I was talking about that was the red herring was we thought that there's these two main characters who we have the father this father figure who created Rhyme City where Pokemon live amongst the humans and they're all equals. Then you have his son who's thought to be the villain. That's what we're led to believe, that he's the guy who's kind of doing all the stuff with Mewtwo, the experimentation with Pokemon, involving them. We find out later the father was the one who was actually the villain.
Oh.
They totally misled us.
Who started Rhyme City.
Yes. And what his whole plan is, he got ill and he's paralyzed. His whole plan is to insert the human essence into the Pokemon, and then the Pokemon are now possessed by the people, and they're, you got to adjust, but that's...
But you're still alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
he
became Mewtwo. His soul was not installed in Mewtwo. He was able to take control of it with some device, and then he went and did that for everybody.
Oh.
So actually then I have a third thing. Last one, Ryan Reynolds at one point in a very depressed manner, sings the original Pokemon song. You know, gotta catch 'em all.
Oh, I've heard this is a real good part of the movie.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
it's so freaking funny. It was great. I was like, oh no.
Well, he's got such a great voice. I don't know what it is. I kind of stand for Ryan Reynolds.
Well, it's just the sarcastic tone is just so obvious, but it's so believable at the same time. So it's just great. I mean, his body language is always just carried out well, and Pikachu, I mean, acts like Ryan Reynolds kind of.
Okay. All right. They did a good job of that. Okay. Do you envision a sequel being made out of this?
Well, the fact that Ryan Reynolds isn't possessed by Pikachu anymore, I think poses a problem.
Okay.
But I think that we'll get another Pokemon movie. I just don't know what that would end up being.
In the same world,
Maybe
or
Justice
like
Smith
something out like this? Because there was already a Pikachu or a Pokemon movie, right? There was a couple.
There were animated movies, yeah. But you know what, Wes? Now that I think about it, Justice Smith may get another role. He may now have the chance to become I guess he's thinking about becoming a detective again. Maybe they give him his shot at becoming a Pokemon trainer, which is what he wanted to be as a kid, and that's why he was so jaded against Pokemon, because whole thing with his dad again. So maybe he gets something, but they didn't lead us to believe there will be a spinoff.
Okay. All right.
But there will be another Pokemon movie. So what's your score at the end of this whole thing?
I thought it had a lot of punch. It was pretty heartfelt, really hit close to home. I've been dealing with a lot of things that I thought related to me in my personal life. A lot of laughs, a lot of cries. Spent some time in thought. It was a full day for me. It was a full Jimmy V day for me. I could give it a 9.9.
Wow.
Yeah, better than Avengers Endgame, better than any movie. I don't know what's we're gonna be better than this.
Greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, the best no minutes and $0 I've spent on a movie. I don't know how. Best return of investment.
I mean, you got to see that.
Regular Warren Buffett over here.
You got the 30 seconds for free, right? From the beginning of...
yeah, I got the opening credits there. Yeah, that was about it.
So, Tim, we talked about this last time before we get into our 2v1, because we got that coming up. We talked about last time how Wes and I got duped by the Ryan Reynolds video. I think most people did. Did you?
I did. Yep. A friend of mine who has actually hooked me up with some interesting links before... posted it up, and I was like, "Oh, well,
wait, that sounds.
I'll check it out." No, some piracy of movies.
Okay.
And so I said, "Oh, let me check this out," and then I clicked on it, and I watched the entire hour and 45 minutes, and I just didn't get it.
Yeah. Did you hang around though for the post-credit scene?
No, there was a post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, because that's what really sealed the deal for me.
I'll have to go back to that.
Yeah, go back. Yeah, but you got to watch the thing in its entirety. Don't fast forward. Because otherwise you just don't get it.
You know what was part of what sold me on the fact that it was actually real was Tim posting it on Facebook and saying, "Oh my God, this is great."
The respected news source.
I think that's where I found it. And I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell's going on? I got to watch this." And I think it's probably when I texted you.
That's twice I got you then, right?
What was the other one you got me on?
The Amityville trip on April Fool's Day.
That's right, you bastard.
Yeah.
I was so happy for him. I thought he got this job at the Amityville Hotel. And
I know how tied he's been to the Amityville. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great. It's awesome for Tim. And then he's like, no, this is a joke, Nick. It's April Fool's. Like, you're such an a-hole.
Google Maps is a huge help in playing a trick like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyways,
2v1.
2v1 this week. All right. So, Tim, I don't know if you saw this one, but are you going to want to lead it off to Wes today, or do you want Tim to lead off?
Let's have Tim lead off.
Okay.
Here.
So, we have Leela from Futurama. We have Mulan of Disney Princess fame, obviously Mulan the movie, and Kim Possible from the Disney show Kim Possible. 2v1, 2 are trying to kill you, 1 is trying to protect you. Who are you picking?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Kim Possible to protect me.
Oh,
just for I'm hoping that I get to get some private time with Christy Carlson Romano.
Jesus, such a pervert.
I really am, especially because when she was on that show, Even Stevens, I was in my 20s.
Really?
And I think she was older than the character she played.
Oh, definitely.
But,
yeah. But she had braces, though.
That's true. But I definitely was like,
helped.
oh, this girl. I like her attitude. I like her sass.
I forgot she played Kim Possible.
Yeah, same one.
Yeah.
Plus, I just think Kim Possible is pretty badass. She won't kill them unless she has to, but I think if she had to, she would.
Okay. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I think there's been rumors about a Kim Possible movie.
She might be a female Barry.
Too,
she's a female Barry. She doesn't want to have to kill, but she kind of can default to it if she has to.
I like that a lot.
And she's had to defend, is it Ron, I think, was in the show?
Well, yeah, so I'm just going to jump right into this now.
Go ahead, Wes.
So I've been doing a process of elimination recently. So that's how I get to my conclusion. So Leela has one eye. So depth perception and peripheral vision is at a real shoddy work right there.
Good point by you.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I want her protecting me like in an open field where she has to cover 360 degrees. Mm-hmm. The catch radius, that sort of thing, like not very large for her. Milan is determined, right? But what's the body of work? I feel like the body of work is pretty slim, right? Because like she gets a coming of age story where she has to spend some time before she becomes who she is, the warrior princess, right? Mm-hmm. So, she probably only gets about like 20 minutes of actual like Mulan at full strength. Kim Possible has 87 episodes of kicking ass and also brings with her Ron Stoppable, played by Will Friedle.
That was Ron, okay.
And Rufus, the naked mole rat.
That's right.
So give me the team to help out. Like I'll have them there.
We're throwing teams in now?
Well, I think they just kind of come as a package deal.
I mean, Mulan has the entire Chinese army at her disposal.
And she's great. I know she's going to answer. She's good on the phone. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I know I can get in touch with her pretty quickly.
That is very important. I forgot to read our fan involvement, Julia Amaral, who I've never heard of or ever met in my life.
She sounds hot.
At Julia_Amaral 426. I don't get the numbers.
It's her birthday.
Oh, okay. How would you know that?
Well, I better know that.
He's dedicated to all the listeners.
Yes.
And viewers.
You tweet us, I will know your birthday too, and your social security card.
Mulan all day to protect. She's badass. Kim Possible's theme song was too juvenile. Can't take her seriously enough. Leela is just all right. Mulan brought honor to them all.
It was a Disney Channel show. Like, are you expecting like an Emmy, a Grammy nominated opening?
I think I tend to agree that Leela is meh. I think she might be the strongest of the three,
yes.
But she's not the most skilled. And you're right, depth perception is absolutely an issue. But I disagree with both of you. I don't think Kim Possible will take that extra step. I think she'll try and defend you as best she can, but she's just a teenager at the end of it all. Yeah, she's an agent and everything and very skilled, but I mean, Mulan fought the freaking Huns.
But she's also a teenager.
What's your point? She fought the Huns. At that point, you're just an adult. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the same.
It's a coming of age moment.
Okay.
It's how it works in China. Okay, you have to. Once you fight the Huns,
I know they age very,
Wall.
very quickly. At age 12, they're out in a suit, working in the 9 to 5.
Exactly. But seriously, I take Mulan. She knows what she's doing with a sword. She was honestly, I mean, I know we had Wonder Woman already technically, but on the big screen, was Mulan on the big screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the big screen, you really didn't have many women who were, fighting with men and showing them what was up. She was doing that before everybody else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Pocahontas didn't really fight, right? She was a pacifist.
Pacifist.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and totally inaccurate too. I mean, not even remotely close to the real life Pocahontas. The whole issue. There.
Oh, right.
Was. I mean, I get it's Disney, and I'm that's pretty tongue in cheek, but still.
That's
just an outside. I mean, they were very accurate when it came to Ariel, though. They did a very good job, sticking to the real story, the whole theme of everything. Ursula, very believable.
My first rule of a journalist is right.
I can't remember. There's like 5 rules that we've
there
gone
is.
over.
It changes every time. But this week it is never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Yeah, that's what I always say before I sit down and write.
There are certain publications, I believe, in this very Commonwealth that would appreciate your can-do attitude.
Some may. I don't know. Who am I to say?
But yeah, so that's where I stand with this. Wes, obviously you've had other things on your mind leading up to this episode, outside of Detective Pikachu, Game of Thrones. What else you got?
I'm still really hung up on Detective Pikachu. It really blew me away. But in the midst to move on here, the best season finale that aired on HBO was not Game of Thrones last night. Mm-hmm. It was Barry season 2. Unbelievable show.
Okay.
30 minutes, very bingeable. Breeze right through it. Not an ounce of fat on there. Very, very good. Very, very good with keeping everything down and trimmed and to your liking. Twists and turns that you don't expect coming, unlike Game of Thrones. You got great humor. You got great killing action. You have real drama in there. You have great character building. And probably one of the best characters on television right now in NoHo Hank, who I recently found out, Massachusetts native.
Who plays that character?
I don't know his name. I should have wrote that
he's
down.
not Chechenian?
No, which is even better, right?
He's so convincing.
Oh, he's fantastic. And Nick, I know you haven't watched that show. That is one I highly recommend.
I'll try and watch at least one episode before next week and give you my first episode review.
I would recommend, too, going back and watching this season and seeing what an obnoxious a-hole Barry's girlfriend is.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember her name.
But Sally, she has a great coming out in the previous episode, not the most recent one.
Right.
Where she has that great monologue.
That was a really good scene.
Yeah.
And looked like it was done in one take. Even more better.
Right.
But, even better. But I just love the fact that throughout the course of the season, like, she says all these little things that you're like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you.
But I think that's a real testament to the actor or the actress.
Absolutely.
Because, like, she does such a great job of playing that vapid, self-absorbed LA actor, and you buy it. You know, so I think you're kind of supposed to hate her.
The other thing too is Stephen Root is great in everything.
Oh,
he's
awesome.
in everything, and he's great in everything. But this is a role that he really, really gets to shine in.
Yes, yeah, and he plays like a real satanic, or not satanic, but he's like devilish.
You feel bad for him at some points,
Right.
and then he goes completely evil, and you're like, oh, I can't wait till he dies. So you kind of go back and forth between that, and it's just well done.
And what world are we living in where there's like a feral mongoose child on the loose who's like biting people's cheeks?
Absolutely the best part of the entire season.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like there's like some surrealism in there, but it's very grounded. It's a very cool show.
Okay, I'm a little interested now.
Yeah, definitely enjoy it.
Anything else been on your mind?
No, that's it.
So real quick, before I get what's been on my mind, or what else has been on my mind, you know what we didn't touch on in the Game of Thrones thing, Wes?
Yes.
The fact that
what?
Samuel Tarly brings out the book A Song of Fire and Ice.
Right.
Which is the actual book that this is all based off of.
Right.
Kind of like a wink, wink, hi, everybody. And no Tyrion in that book. Like, that's not funny. That pissed me off.
I thought that was kind of dumb.
That was, you're not in it? How the frick are you not going to put that guy in the book? He was a part of every step along the way. He's dealing with a bunch of different kings, and the a-hole Joffrey, he's blamed for killing Joffrey.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see someone else smarter than me try to unravel that, because I
How's that funny?
Because maybe it's not funny. Like, maybe it's true. Like, maybe he was behind the scenes. The only instance I could think of where he wasn't on the behind the scenes was in the Battle of Blackwater Bay, where he was actually out in the front lines. But maybe everything he did, he never got credit for publicly.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I guess
maybe if you go back, it's kind of like a Fight Club thing. Like, you realize that he was always just kind of like behind the scenes in the castle, like not out in the people. I don't know.
And again, I watched the last 20 minutes of last night and hadn't seen any of the things in season 1. But maybe that's like a nod that was kind of George R.R. Martin's perspective.
Well, Samuel Tarly and George R.R. Martin has said if he were to be any character from there, he would be Samwell.
Oh.
Okay.
So he is supposed to be that, like,
but he's
his
not
own character.
He's not the one that wrote the book, though. It was someone else that wrote the book.
But he gave the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a fair point.
But as someone who is a maester, a grand maester, who is a keeper of history, that's what George R.R. Martin essentially is as the author of the books.
My last thing on that would be Varys better have like one line in that book. That's it. If Tyrion's getting nothing, because they did a lot of the same crap.
And maybe he gets lost to it too.
I mean, seriously, it better been that he started out as the master of whisperers, and then that was it. That better be it. So what else has been on my mind? Like I said earlier in the show, some reading stuff. I've been a little behind on a few things that I recently bought. I got Detective Comics 1000 when it came out. There was a variant with the Bat family on it. That's Batman and the Robins, because there's the Bat family goes far past that. I finally got a chance to read it. I think it is 10 short stories in there. Maybe it's a few more, maybe a few less, something to that effect, though. But I really enjoyed it. You get everybody showing off their art. A bunch of different artists contributing. I think Jim Lee was in on it. You get Christopher Priest writing. You have James Tynion, I believe. I remember I was reading, Batman Kings of Fear? The people that did that book were in on it too. A little bit more of an old school look to Batman. And you have all his villains show up at some point. You have the entire Bat family. Honestly, if you haven't read it already, I'm sure there are still plenty available. I would pick it up if you like Batman at all. And speaking more on Batman 2, Batman Hush is supposed to be coming out on DVD, I believe, on June 20th or it's July 20th. It's the animated version. I'm not certain which one it is, but I've always heard that the book is phenomenal. I recently got it, haven't made time to read it.
Sure,
Finally have. I'm getting close to finishing up, and man, Wes, if I was ever going to give you something to read, I think it might be this.
Batman Hush, okay.
Batman Hush. It's really, really good. You don't need to know much going into it. You just got to know Batman. You got to know the other villains that are involved, which they're all villains that you know outside of Hush. But this is his intro.
All right. That's a good reason why I would know him then.
Mm-hmm. It's in the. Maybe I'll find a way to get my hands on a copy of the movie, and then you can watch it.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, they do good animated stuff. I know.
I like the animated stuff. I know the Killing Joke got a bad rap, but I liked it for what it was. Like, I wasn't really expecting a whole bunch. I was kind of like, wake up in the middle of the night, can't fall back asleep, want something to watch.
Yep. Under the Red Hood's really good, and there's plenty
I like
other
that
ones.
one too. Yeah.
But yeah, that's everything.
That's our episode.
On my end.
We got John Wick, so we got Death Galore.
Yes!
Coming up next week. I've heard great things about it too.
Oh yeah, I saw somewhere. I think it was comicbook.com on their Instagram said that there's going to be John Wick 4.
Already confirmed, 2021.
Unbelievable.
Yes, and we'll be there to watch it too.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
One of us definitely will. Yeah. My other one, I'm not so sure about.
Okay. What about Tim?
Oh yeah, Tim can watch. Oh, Tim, can do what he wants.
Tim's like a cockroach. You can get rid of him.
Well, I think on that note, Tim, it's great to have you back. I'm happy that everyone could see our smiling faces again. We don't have to use my iPad technology.
Definitely makes a big difference.
Yes, it sure does.